First-person shooters, a tried-and-true genre of game that's been popular ever since 3D gaming became a thing. There's no shortage of new FPS games released every year, which isn't surprising as it's one of the most loved game types. Now this list easily could have just been, hey guys, a new Call of Duty and Battlefield's probably coming out, so there's 1 and 2. But everybody already knows about those games, we're expecting them, they'll probably come out, sell millions of copies, and they'll be good games. At least they won't be dumpster fires. Maybe. What I wanted to do in this list is take a look at some maybe lesser known, but still very promising looking shooters that will hopefully be coming out this year. So without further ado, here are my top 5 new FPS games of 2018. Kicking things off, we have got Witchfire, a dark fantasy first-person shooter from the developers of Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Bulletstorm, and Painkiller. The game looks absolutely gorgeous with a dark and gritty setting that I can really get behind. In the one trailer released so far, we see an array of skeletons and other demonic enemies, some very satisfying looking gunplay, and special abilities like a teleport and force push. I expect this to be a fairly linear shooter, probably story driven, and I'm not entirely sure that we'll be getting a multiplayer, although I hope so. I'll admit I was hesitant to put this one on the list because at the moment, we don't really know much of anything other than seeing the trailer. But if that trailer is anything to go by, I'm pretty excited. Next on the list is Hunt Showdown, a competitive first-person PvP bounty hunting game with zombies and bosses, like a giant spider. 10 players are dropped into a large open swamp with the goal of tracking, killing, and banishing a boss, and then escaping with its bounty, all while dealing with deadly zombies and enemy players. Death is permanent in the game, but if you make it out alive, your hunter gets stronger. If not, you start from scratch, although there is a account progression system where you unlock new weapons and tools. I just did a video going over all the details of Hunt Showdown, and since then, I've gotten a chance to actually play it. I absolutely love the design and premise of this game, although it's a little bit rough in its current alpha build. Specifically, a lot of people are having huge performance issues. That's the sort of thing though that we expect to get ironed out. And once they do, this looks like it's gonna be a really great new game for people who like competitive PvP with that added twist of a dangerous environment and AI enemies. Moving on, we've got Battalion 1944, a game that looks to recapture the core of classic competitive shooters while refining that gameplay for a new generation. The focus here is on fluid, skill-based gameplay in 5 vs 5 infantry combat. There's no airstrikes, no attack dogs, and no overpowered golden guns, just you, your skill, and your rifle. Game modes will include Wartide, Capture the Flag, Domination, Team Deathmatch, and Free-for-all. There'll be skill-based matchmaking, and a war chest cosmetic system to make your guns look pretty. Basically, if you like the early Call of Duty games, you might be interested in Battalion 1944. Fast-paced, snappy, arcade-style, old-school gameplay. Our next game is Hell Let Loose, a platoon-based, realistic multiplayer FPS set during World War II. Huge team battles of 100 players or 50 per team on a massive 4-kilometer squared map are what you'll be getting with this game. Players will work together in teams to capture sectors, resources, and push back the enemy. There's over 20 different types of vehicles and deployable weapons, and they promise to deliver a historically accurate arsenal with realistic weapons and behavior. Emphasis here is on teamwork and not just killing other players. Setting up supply lines, capturing points, and building will all play a major role in victory. It's not about flick headshots and 360 no-scopes, and for that reason, it won't be for everyone. But if you like slow, thought-out strategic shooters on a grand scale, you might want to check this out. And the final game on today's list is Insurgency Sandstorm, a hardcore, gritty multiplayer FPS. A sequel or spin-off of the original Insurgency, Sandstorm looks to move the series forward. Better graphics, improved gameplay, and new game modes, all while staying true to the lethal tactical action that Insurgency is known for. The game kind of splits the difference between realistic and arcadey shooters. It features large-scale 16 vs 16 battles with artillery barrages, helicopter gunships, drones, airstrikes, and drivable vehicles. Death comes quickly in Insurgency, which will reward team play and careful planning over running and gunning. And that is pretty much going to do it for my top 5 new FPS games coming out in 2018. This was a tough list to put together because there's actually a lot of other shooters coming out this year. It was a top 5, so I had to pick 5, and those are the ones that I went with. But either way, it looks like 2018 is shaping up to be a good year for fans of shooter games. And I really can't think of a sign-off, so bye-bye.